Hey guys, and today I'm going to show you how to make these little 4th of July themed pinwheels. I think they're pretty simple to make, so let's get into showing you how to make them. This is just a variation on another way you can make the pinwheel. Here's the materials. You're going to need a blue clay, which is French blue, red, which I believe is pomegranate, a white, some form of a blade or a knife to cut your clay and your shapes out, a rolling pin, a square cutter, which I didn't have a cutter, so I took a piece of aluminum foil and folded it over into a small strip, and then you can just shape it into whatever shape you want, and then when you're done, just put a little bit of tape, and it works pretty good, at least getting the basic shape out. So that's how I made my square cutter. So let's get started. First, we're going to need to roll out our blue clay. So I'm just beginning by flattening a little bit into the shape, and now I'm just going to roll it out. So we want to roll it out kind of thin. So I'm going to roll it out and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is about the thickness you want it. You could have it thinner, actually, but this is what I chose to go with. So now we're going to do the same to the red clay. We're just going to roll it out, and I'll show you what that should look like after I get mine rolled out. So this is the thickness I went with. If you have a pasta roller machine or anything like that, you could probably get them thinner, which would make it a little better, but it's okay like this. So we're going to take the red clay. We don't need all of it. We're just going to cut off a piece big enough for our square cutter to fit in. And then we're going to lay it on top of the blue and then cut off our excess of the blue. So that way we don't waste too much clay. And this is the piece we're going to be working with. A red on top of the blue. Now take your square cutter and you're going to line it up onto the clay somewhere in the corner, so that way we can make a second one out of the same piece. And we're going to press it down. Since I have to make this cutter, you can see that it didn't really go all the way through, but it worked at least to give us the shape of the square, a rough shape of a square, and you can just cut it out. And you don't have to use a cutter. If you feel confident that you can cut out a pretty good square, then just go ahead and do that. But I just wanted to try and make it as exact as I could, I guess. So this is what you should have. A square that's red on top and blue on the bottom. And then I'm just going to roll it a little bit to make it a little thinner and make sure the colors are blended together. So this is what we have, and now I'm going to show you how you can make the pinwheel. You're going to take the knife or blade and we're going to make some cuts, but you want the blue side on top, and then we're going to cut into it. You don't want to go all the way to the center. You want to leave the center intact, so you just want to go a little bit of the way in. I'll show you in a second. And you're going to do that to all 4 corners, so that way they all come apart. See how I went in? And there's still some left in the center. And you do that to all 4 corners. Then you're going to take one corner and bend it into the center. And you're going to do that to, I guess you could say, every other corner. So just keep going, doing every point. It should be the same one on every triangle, the upper corner of every triangle. So then you bend this one in. And then we're going to do that to the same thing on the last one. And now we should have 4 folded in and 4 points still sticking out, which gives us that look of the pinwheel. And then just press down in the center a little bit to make sure that they're all stuck down and not going to come back up. Now to finish it off, we're going to take a little piece of white clay and we're going to roll it out, and I'll show you what that looks like after. So once I've rolled out my clay into a pretty thin piece, you're going to take either your knife and cut out a circle. You could also just pinch off a small piece and roll it out into like a ball and flatten it, or find something that's circle cut and punch it out. So that's what I wound up with. It was a little bit of circle. And then we're just going to press it onto the center to cover up where all of our pieces meet in the middle. Okay, so that's what mine looked like. Now we're going to take that same scrap that we used from before and our white piece, and this is going to be the second variation. You want to cut your white piece into a rectangle as best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just don't want your pieces that you cut to be, I guess, different thicknesses and wavy, because you're going to try and make these as straight lines as you can. Now we're going to slice off thin pieces, which are going to be the stripes. Now I'll show you how to put them on, and then I'll show you what the final product should look like after I put all of my strips on. So you want to line it up as straight as you can on the red side, just like that, and you're going to line them up next to each other. So this is what you should get, something similar like that. I just trimmed it down to the size of my square cutter, so that way I just didn't do the whole red piece and didn't need to do that. Then you're going to put your cutter on and press it down firmly to try and cut through everything as best as you can. And then we're going to remove our cutter. Which leaves us with this, and then we're just going to punch it out. And now we're back with we started with in the beginning, just the square, and I'm going to roll it a little bit just to make sure that all the colors are stuck together very well and they're not going to come apart, and everything's a little bit flatter. Now we're going to cut the slits in our clay like we did last time with the blue side up. Once again, we're going to do the 4 slits, and then we'll begin the process again of folding them over, which I'll show you in a minute how to do that again. So we're going to have the 4 slits, Now we're going to fold the blue sides over and leave the stripes showing, just like this. So you're going to do every other corner, or the beginning of every new triangle. And then push it down in the center, just to make sure everything will stick and stay. Now I made the circle again the same way as I did before, and we're just going to pop that onto the center of this pinwheel as well. Flatten it out a little bit and place it on. And that's what it looks like. So these are the two pinwheels that I've made, and I'll show you how you can put them on a stick, which is optional if you would like. So here's two small pieces of wire that I had. You could also use a head pin or an eye pin, or the excess off of one that you've cut that was too long. Anything like that, just something that you think would fit in there, or you could probably even use a toothpick. But you're just going to push it up in between the ridge of one and where the other one is pointed, so it goes right in the middle of the two. And you just want to stick it in until you feel that it's secure. You could also apply some TLS to the end of this stick or wire and push it in, so that way you're sure that it's in there. But once again, you just go in between the two where they overlap and just push it in, which will leave it secure. So this is what you'll end up with: a striped pinwheel and a solid color 4th of July pinwheel. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like, rate, and subscribe. And also please leave any comments with your feedback.